like I'm always listening to new music, like the Melvins new album that came out. If you like the Melvins, it's one of their best albums.
I did have a wee listen to it. It was not. It didn't strike me as essential that I needed to get hold of that, because I've got so much music going on just now. I've got piles of, not piles, but I've got quite a few CDs. I've bought about 20 CDs over the last couple of weeks. I went mad buying stuff, but I did listen to it. I thought it was good. I mean, it was good. At another point, it might be something that I'd really get into. But I went onto Amazon and I just typed in CD and filtered it for the cheapest first, and I found a whole bunch of stuff which various vendors were just desperate to get rid of. And which turned out to be really, really interesting stuff. So I've got a lot of things, and I did the same with eBay. I ended up with a whole bunch of weird things from eBay, so I've got tons of stuff to listen to. So yeah, if you say anything you send me, I will obviously I'll give it a listen. But sometimes it's just not the right moment to be. Some stuff, it just breaks through that barrier, and you go, oh, I've really got to get that. And even though you got to pay £15 for the CD, you'll get it, But in the normal course of things, it's difficult for new things to find. Things that people recommend have to be really good before I'll just go, oh, drop everything and get that. Because my friend Michael does the same. What was it he did recently? I can't remember the name of the band, but the way he wrote the text to me was, you've got to hear this. I can't remember what it was, but it was so good I ordered it from the States, but the postage was only $5 from the States, and I think the band's going to lose money on that deal, to be honest, because I think it's a lot more than $5 to ship here. But it won't be coming until May, that one. I'll let you know what that was when I get my head around what it was, but I've forgotten at the moment.
Well, I do hesitate to. Sometimes I'll show you music I know you probably won't buy because I don't want to put that burden on you. Because I didn't imagine you buying the Melvins album at all, but I was hoping you'd listen to it and be like, I didn't know if you're even a fan of the Melvins slightly, because it doesn't sound like the kind of music you typically listen to.
No, I've never come across them before. Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, I liked it.
And it's like their 28th album or something, or 29th album.
Is that right?
I like the stuff I'm more of a fan of Melvins adjacent music than I am of the Melvins themselves. Right. Like they did some work with Fantomas, Mike Patton's band, which I appreciate that a lot more. And like they have a super group with Terry Genderbender on vocals and Omar Rodriguez on bass. and they called the Crystal Fairy, and I'll listen to Crystal Fairy 100 times before I listen to a Melvins album typically. Right. But the reason I listen to the Melvins is because that was Kurt Cobain's favorite band. That was the band that he talked about as being like, without the Melvins you don't have Nirvana kind of thing. Right. And most people would be like, Nirvana's way better than the Melvins. Probably including the Melvins would say that. The thing I love about the Melvins is that they were friends with Kurt Cobain early on. And when Kurt got into drugs, they kind of got away from him. They're like, you know what? You're going down that road. We don't play with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why the Melvins are still kicking. Like they're still broke and they're still playing in small clubs, to not sold out shows. But they're all healthy and happy, and they've never had drug problems. So
yeah, and their music will last forever.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm seeing that too. Like I remember, I was listening to an interview one time with Mike Patton, and he went on tour with Tool back around 2001, which is when I got into Mike Patton, because I saw Tool and Mike Patton was opening for them. Same with Meshuggah. That's how I got into Meshuggah too. They opened for Tool at a show. But I was watching an interview, and they said, "What do you think about hanging out with Tool? Do you enjoy touring with them?" And he said, "I'm just really happy to find out they're not a bunch of fucking drug-addled retards," because that's been his experience, right? Because one of the first big bands he opened for was Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was nothing but friction and chaos, because those guys are idiots, and they loved their heroin, or at the time they did. And then his next big tour was with Guns N' Roses, right? Same thing. He's going, this Axl Rose guy is a nightmare to work with. Like, and those bands, Red Hot Chili Peppers is a bit of an exception, I think, but most of the bands that have that reputation, they don't last. They have to clean up, and clearly the Guns N' Roses didn't have staying power. Like, they were a flash in the pan, right? And they're back together now, but they're basically a cover version of their old band now. At this point, right? but that's the thing, you know, and I think a lot of people put labels on bands like Pink Floyd, right? They're not they get synonymous with drug usage, but they're not drug users. Like, when you hear Roger Waters talking about his drug history, he's like, yeah, I smoked hash for like a year back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that's their, you know, and apparently Richard Wright got into cocaine a bit there around the wall, but that was, you know, they're like vegans by the sounds of it. You know,
yeah. It is strange that, I mean, the same with Frank Zappa. You know, lots of people think that he must have been a complete and utter weird drug head to do that kind of music, but he was the opposite. You know, it's quite often the case. I don't think you can really tell from the outside by the music whether there's drugs involved or not. Although sometimes you can tell by the production that there's nobody in the band has got a decent set of ears.
Yeah,
there's nobody listening to this who's actually present in the moment, and so that kind of gives you a feeling sometimes that there might not the mental state might not be that cohesive, but. In terms of the music, it's not very easy to tell most of the time.